Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing well. In today's video, I'm just going to share a little experience regarding Tourist Bus Simulator. Now, my experience with the game hasn't been too bad so far. I mean, driving the buses, it's been pleasant, going around the map, exploring, finding all the points of interest, really all the things that the game genuinely has to offer. Now, as of recording my last video, at the end of it, my save file corrupted. Now, I did make a backup save file, but that doesn't seem to, have made any difference because I've loaded the game up and it's caused me to start from the beginning. Now, I know a few of you have run into this technical issue already in regards to losing your game saves, etc. And it is extremely frustrating. I can sympathize for those that have spent hours and hours trying to build their businesses up just for it to do this. It's not acceptable. In fact, I think it's disgusting, to be honest. Now, I'm going to get into a little bit of a rant. I'm also going to talk about why I think these things are happening, and just try and gauge a little bit as to whether they're going to fix this issue. It's something which really shouldn't happen, but yet it's happening and they don't really seem to be doing an awful lot about it. So straight away, let's go through my experience so far and the technical issues, the bugs, the glitches that I've experienced the longer I've played this game. So straight away, the GPS has got a mind of its own. It works, then it doesn't. Sometimes in some buses it's just not apparent at all. It's something which you heavily rely upon in something like this, for navigation, and for that not to be working correctly, it 100% needs to be addressed. Now, as for the sun rays from the sky, that's something that really needs to be touched upon. You're being blinded left, right and centre when you're trying to do your routes, and it's just not a very pleasant experience. They offer a little sun blind which does absolutely nothing, so that's something that they could really look upon, but that's a tiny little thing, that we can't really fixate on. I'm sure it'll get addressed at some point later down the line. But in regards to bugs and stuff, the AI, the longer I've gone through this game and the more I've progressed, the more buses I've bought, the more points of interest I've collected, the houses, the rental properties, all that sort of stuff. The game has just got progressively worse. It feels the longer you play it, the worse it gets. So I'm talking frame rate drops. I never had that before at the beginning, but once I got to a certain stage in the game, things started happening. Now, I would book a bus in for repair, but it wouldn't actually trigger the doors allowing me in, so I actually missed quite a lot of the appointments. Now, this is where it gets a little bit strange, because on occasion I wouldn't book a bus into the service to get it repaired, etc., but it would come up on my screen telling me that I missed a repair and it would reward me 40,000 euros. Now, that's something which, I mean, at the end of the day, it's free money, woohoo. But I didn't book my bus in for a repair, so I'm getting that prompt come up on the screen telling me that I've missed it or something like that, and I haven't actually booked an appointment. So that's something that they really need to sort out, because it's, it's not only that, you get it through your bus routes as well. I've been 5 minutes into a bus route and it's told me that I failed the route. I've only just started. So there are a lot of things that have developed over the course of playing this game. Now, don't get me wrong, it is a good game. When it works, the driving, the atmosphere, the immersion, it's really nice navigating your way around the island, doing different routes, different services, etc. It can be really, really fun. But when your saved data corrupts and you spend hours and hours and hours building your business, essentially, for it just to be taken away from you, I don't think that's acceptable. And as far as, you know, fixing one thing with the luggage and stuff, that's fine. But I don't see people wanting to progress any further if their game save, their progression is hanging in the balance. It's just something that shouldn't happen. Now, I'll get into a little bit as to why I think this is happening. And this is based on experience which I've had with previous titles from the developer, like On the Road, for example. So I think that at the beginning of the game, the early stages, the early steps that we take define what happens in relation to bugs later down the line. So when I first owned a couple of buses, it didn't happen. I got no frame rate drops, no technical issues, no file corruption anyway. But the more I progressed through the game, the more money I made, the more established I became. That's when all the little nitty gritty bugs started to pop up, and it wasn't just a little bug here and there. It was frequent. Every corner, every turn I would take, there would be a massive drop in frame rate, which I never had before. So I come to the conclusion that once you get a little bit more established, and once you start actually getting somewhere, it's almost as if it's a design to keep you engrossed in the game, like almost of offering replayability, but at the expense of the loss of your progression. Like, you have no option for that, and I just think that that's really, really poor. Now, we had a very similar incident with On the Road, you know, and that problem still persists today. After all the updates, after everything that we've had to endure through that life cycle of the game, that element of the game is still there. Now, that's not very promising, especially when it comes to this game, because all the problems which I experienced with On the Road are now transitioning to this game. Frame rate drops, technical bugs, AI behaving a little bit more erratic than usual, you know, passengers not loading in, not getting off the bus, you know, GPS not working, just very small problems, but are in a collective sort of state, they are actually really damaging to your experience within the game. Now, we all know that the communication from Aerosoft TML with its players, the consumers, it's poor, it's disgusting. There's no roadmap as to tell you what's going on. There's no communication in between to let us know what they're working on or what they're planning to fix. It's almost as if they've got our money now and there's nothing that we can do about it. You know, like I said in previous videos, yes, you buy these games because you know these things and you're in it for the long haul. That's absolutely fine. But when you have technical issues which cause your game save files to corrupt, where you have to start again, that is not acceptable. That is not acceptable. That cannot happen, and it should not happen. And as far as, you know, me progressing through this game anymore, knowing what I know now, I am not going to continue or progress with it knowing that my save data is hanging in the balance. There is no point in spending time trying to progress through this game if you get to a certain stage in it and then it just goes, no, that's it, you're not doing it anymore. You know, all the hours, all the grinding, because these routes aren't short. You know, you can get some pretty extensive, pretty lengthy routes in this game, and for it to all just vanish just like that, it's really, really disheartening. You know, it's disappointing more than anything. Now, I'm not going to stop playing this game because it does have a few key elements which I enjoy, but I'm not going to progress to the point of building up a business just for it to be taken away in the next breath. That is something that I'm not going to do. Now, there's a lot of technical issues, there's a lot of bugs, etc., that still haven't been fixed, and whether as to, you know, if they do get fixed is another story. these updates that we get recently, they're so inconsistent based on what platform you play on. They don't come out at the same time. That's something that they really need to reevaluate, I think. Because for retaining a player, you need some form of stability. And so far, with the game save files not saving, corrupting, getting error codes left, right, and center, it's not exactly a good image for the developer, and it definitely isn't good for their current reputation, because as we all know, their reputation is pretty poor. So this is the little rant. Besides that, the game is beautiful. There's a really nice scenery. The drive in the buses, the things that you're able to do in the buses. It's something which it definitely adds to the immersion. They've done a very good job with captivating the atmosphere of this island, and the buses, and just being a general part of it. You definitely get the holiday vibe. But the little tiny issues, there are so many of them, that now it's causing such a detrimental hit to everybody that plays this game, and everybody that opens up their wallet and pays the £25 for it, buys the DLCs, etc. The microtransactions are an absolute joke. 20 quid, €20, whatever, for a DLC for a bunch of buses which should have been in the game anyway. And that's my view. They should have been in the game anyway. Despite how people feel, their thoughts and opinions on this game, this is my experience, and I can only say based on what I've experienced and the things that I've seen. Now, as to whether these things get fixed is another story, but they can't expect people to continue this game if there's an issue with game saves. And because I've experienced this in the past with previous games, it doesn't really give me much hope, and I'm not going to hold my breath, because I think I'll run out of it. So yeah, guys, like I said, if you like this sort of content, please like and subscribe. Your support has been absolutely next to none. I can't thank you enough. But I do hope that you guys stay safe. And like I said, if there's any updates, any information, news regarding this game, then I'll try and cover it for you. And if you have any questions regarding this, then feel free to drop it down in the comment section below, and I'll try and help you out as best as I can. But yeah, guys, I think that pretty much wraps it up, to be honest, before I end up losing any more hair. But yeah, definitely not a good selling point for this game, that's for sure. Save files shouldn't be corrupted, even when you make a new save or backup save. It doesn't seem to want to work, so just keep that in mind, guys. But until next time, like I said, stay safe, and I'll catch you in the next one.